Hello everyone, this is Blue, just taking my daily walk here in Kota, Kinabalu, Sabah, Borneo, East Malaysia. And today's topic would be on how minimalism doesn't lead to happiness. So minimalism is actually a very powerful tool. It's definitely something that we have used to its full capacity in order for us to reach financial independence. So I can only say good things about it, but then there are some bad points about minimalism as well. And some of the biggest drawbacks for minimalism is that, well, sometimes you're extremely time rich. You have a lot of money, right? And you have a lot of time as well. So sometimes you're not really sure what to do with all of that time. And sometimes it becomes a struggle because you have 24 hours to a day. And sometimes you have to really plan out what you want to do on an hourly basis. So it becomes somewhat of a challenge. And what I notice is that sometimes what happens to me or us is that our creativity actually gets a lot more obvious, I guess, because you have so much time on your hands, your mind's at rest. It's a perfect condition for you to be able to think up of pretty ingenious ways to spend your time throughout the day. So for us right now, we're actually traveling abroad, so we're using every minute available to us to show you the world. But basically what happens is you wake up in the morning, right, when you're financially independent, and then you find out that your alarm's turned off, you know, because you can pretty much wake up whenever you want. And then you also realize that you don't need a job anymore to gain any income, because you have a residual and passive income streams to sustain yourself. So it's a pretty interesting realization once you're in financial independence. So a lot of you might think that freedom is great, right? I mean, it is great. But when you have too much of it, then you're essentially, you know, it's you and your own mind, basically, on how you're going to spend the entire day. So a problem I had was that during the morning period, specifically between 9 to 5, there's not a lot of people out there, you know, to hang out with. So I found myself, you know, taking these solo walks, right? And well, my girlfriend would come with me sometimes, but in most of the cases, the morning period was completely ours, right? And it's an interesting world, because the rest of the world is working at their desks, right? 9 to 5. So it's a very, you have to get used to having to, you know, be in that situation where there's not going to be a lot of people during the daytime. And you'll find that you'll see a lot of older people actually, so taking their walks, most of them being in traditional retirement. And I would say another point for minimalism is that you have a lot of space that happens in your household, right? All of your rooms are spacious because there's not a lot of materialism there, decorations, etc. I mean, minimalism in itself says that you actually have to think less when you have less stuff, but it also becomes somewhat of a frustration as well, because you're basically looking at an empty room with nothing in there, which could be frustrating for some, but for others, you know, it allows you the ability to be able to think more, right? Because you don't have to think too much about maintaining those items that you purchased in the past there. So yeah, there's benefits to both, right? There's never any 100% guarantee that minimalism will make you happy. And I would say overall, looking at both the pros and cons, that the pros are actually outweigh the cons of minimalism, because first off, as you're gradually getting to financial independence, it actually protects you as well. And what I mean by that is, let's say you get laid off partway through, But because you followed minimalism and you saved all of that money along the way, maybe not quite to the point of financial independence, you still have, you know, an amount of money there as a form of financial security for you to give you time to look for another job. So from that perspective, following minimalism has its benefits, you know, overall. But also what another benefit would be, you have room to think as well. You know, there might be some cases where you have too much to think about, and sometimes you might face a little bit of depression here and there because there isn't anything really to think further on. So where you have room to think is, you know, you have, you know, sometimes when you're sleeping, you actually get better sleep as well, obviously, because you no longer work. And you're actually thinking while you're sleeping as well, and right before you wake up as well. It's kind of refreshing. And another thing that happens is you have a lot of time on your hands where you actually pick up that book you always avoided in the past as well. So you have plenty of time to think and read. And another thing that happens is looking at your hobbies as well. There might have been that puzzle you never finished in the past, but then you're finishing it now because you have a lot of time to think and do the things that were supposed to make you happy at that time in the past, but you just didn't have time to think about those things. But now you have plenty of time to think about it. But the thing is, even if you finish that puzzle, there's still more time on your hands because you become time rich, right? So you're constantly having to I wouldn't say you go nuts, but you kind of want to always look for things to do. And traveling, for example, if you love traveling, it's an excellent way for you to really spend your time. Like here I am, you know, walking along the coast of Kota Kinabalu right now at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I absolutely love it, right? It's a good way for us to spend our day, and there's plenty of things to see and experience and to eat, and yeah, it's a really wonderful way to spend your day. But another way that minimalism may not make you happy is you won't be able to, you know, purchase those materialisms that everybody else has, right? You know, those expensive cell phones, $1,000 iPhones, you know, the latest television or the latest laptops or the latest gadgets out there. You probably won't be able to get those, right? But the thing is, like, some of those gadgets, you know, after about 3 to 6 months, they come out with another version to replace the previous one that you purchased, and the previous one drops by 30% in price, right? So it's kind of depressing when you think of it that way. But but anyways, like, minimalism won't allow you to be always updated exactly with all of the trends out there. So that's one thing that you'll need to sacrifice. But looking at all of those points that I mentioned, I mean, for minimalism not making you happy, you know, you'll be time rich. You'll always be constantly under pressure to figure out what you want to do, and also all of the empty space you have in your dwelling. Sometimes it's depressing just having that lamp there in the middle of the room. But and also, you know, having not to be able to, you know, have all of the latest stuff out there. But if you can get over those points, there's probably several more that I haven't really mentioned right now. But if you can get over those points, then minimalism works out well for you. But it may not work out well for others. So it's something to really think about when it comes to minimalism. And another thing about minimalism is that you may be spending less time going out with your friends, you know, because going out and having those meals outside is actually pretty costly, right? If you think about it, there's a lot of people actually spend like hundreds of dollars a month really on food expenses when it comes to just going out and going to see a movie or something. It really adds up, and that's another thing that minimalism might do to you. It might make you unhappy because you won't be able to spend so much time with your friends out there, eating those big meals with them and having those conversations. Although there are substitutions to it, however, tons of which I mentioned in my other vlogs. Well, I think I have my vlog here today. Tell me what you think of how minimalism may not make you happy in the comment section below. If you like this vlog, please don't forget to give me a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell for more of my coming content here. Thank you for watching my vlog. Be free, gain wealth, and travel far.